Hey there, welcome. I want to talk about how prayer and mantra work. I can't say I understand every aspect of how they work or how they might not work when people do them, but the main thing is that when we realize that this is infinite, this is all infinite, we must realize there's no cap on its intelligence. There's no boundary on its wisdom and understanding. There's no restriction on its consciousness and awareness. It just being all of reality, universe, multiverse, every star, planet, space between them, the electrons, the people, the minds, all of it. When we realize it's infinite, a lot of people haven't. A lot of people love to just reduce it to something limited. They feel comfortable with that. We'll get to that another day. But when we realize it's infinite, we know that it's listening. Not with ears, not with a limited proximity, not with a limited capacity to multitask, only listening to one or two conversations at a time, but a boundless capacity, hearing all things at all times, all at once. So when we say the name of God, Ram, Hanuman, Ganesha, Allah, Shiva, it's not that this is like the only name for God. God has no name and endless names. God's name is non-verbal and also verbal. The thing is that God, as an infinite entity, both made us say that in a roundabout way and knows what we're talking about. It knows we mean it. It is all intelligent. It knows we mean it. It knows when we say Ram or Allah or we make a prayer that we're intentively trying to connect our awareness to it, to this, to God, to infinity, to reality. It knows this already. That's how it works. It's not about getting what we want. It's not about asking for things and receiving them. It's about the connection and the awareness that the infinite reality already knows. The infinite reality is what even gave us the impulse to connect to it through name, through words, through prayer, through intention. And when we connect with that understanding, that's when the mantra is fulfilled. That's one way the mantra is fulfilled, or the prayer is fulfilled. The reason it's not about asking for what we want is because we're stupid. We're dumb. We're limited in our scope of awareness. We can't see behind the wall. We can't know the consequences of everything happening in other parts of the world or universe. So when we ask for something, let's say it's as mundane as like, I want that job, that high-paying job. That means someone else doesn't get that job. We can say, oh, well, that's fine, I deserve it. I've been struggling. Well, they could have been too. It doesn't make it so there's no divine intelligence just because we didn't get our whims. That's a very childish conclusion. It's a very immature conclusion. It's not a logical conclusion. The Infinite One didn't give me the things I want, even though those things affect other people in the world, possibly negatively. Then there's no God. Doesn't it make more sense that an infinite being would be able to allocate things so that you aren't just taking from other people? Doesn't it also make more sense that in an infinite universe, there are so many possibilities, even the possibilities of unfairness, of injustice, the possibilities of people suffering and other people experiencing all sorts of luxuries like we have today? How would it be not infinite? Like, how would it be, infinite if it didn't have that option? It would be finite. It would have a limit. These are the main reasons to reject prayer and God and infinity and spirituality. It's like, oh, well, it didn't give me what I wanted. Or, oh, there's things have pain, so I don't like it. But what if those things are just part of the perfection, part of the infinite possibilities that need to remain for all things to exist? So when we pray, when we do mantra, it works when we're not just hankering for results at the ignorance of how it affects other parts of the world. It works because we can use it to connect with the awareness that God is listening, and God's inside our own brain, inside our skin, inside our hearts, and it's everywhere. That's why it works. That's why it's been a practice for thousands of years. Because there is an intelligence to all this. We get it wrong. Our mythologies and explanations are limited and not fully right, but it doesn't change that reality is infinite. It doesn't change that in its infinity, it has an intelligence and a capacity far beyond our understanding. So when we pray to it, we open our own self to the possibility of that connection, and that's simple opening is what works. You don't need to pray. You don't need to say mantras or do rituals or do a meditation or anything. You're already connected. We are all already connected to each other and to infinity. But we choose in our infinite freedom, our infinite capacity for hallucination and illusion and making shit up with our mind, if we're open or not. And you don't need to be. It's not even our choice if we're open or not. In the end, it's a cascading drama and dance of the divine, most of it out of our control, most of it out of our ancestors' control, and we're just bumping around on this plane of existence. So if we're not open, we don't need to worry. We don't need to be. It's fine. And if we're open, that's really the key to how some of these practices work, is that we let the illusion fall away, the illusion of closedness, the illusion of limit, the illusion of separation. We just weaken its presence in our consciousness, and we open the consciousness up to its true essence, which is God, which is reality. Thank you so much for watching. Om Saral.